Hi, this is Lee and welcome to another weekly tip video. Today is a bit of an accidental topic really, because as I was moving some windows around on my desktop the other day, I noticed some functionality in the title bar and more specifically the little proxy icon that sits to the left of the file name. It's a small thing, but there's actually quite a lot you can do with it, and in this video I'm going to take a look at what it can do and show a couple of situations where that functionality could prove to be pretty useful. So let's take a look. So what do I mean when I say proxy icon? Well, if we look up here on the left of this file name here, is this tiny icon just here. You can see that if I come over to text edit, we've got one here, then down to pages, there's one here. And then finally, if I come over to preview, well, some applications don't show them automatically, but if I leave my cursor here, you can see it appears. So what exactly is it? Well, the dictionary definition of a proxy is a person authorized to act on behalf of someone else. Well, in this case, this icon is acting on behalf of the Finder entry that you're much more familiar with. So where you drag and drop an item in Finder, you can do exactly the same with this proxy icon. Now, first of all, the behavior of these icons, like whether you can even see them or not, is a little bit mixed up. Sometimes they appear, as you can see here, but sometimes they don't. Now, there is a setting that you can toggle to ensure that generally they do appear all the time. It's in accessibility and display. And it's this one here, show window title icons. If I toggle this on and then hide this window, we can see the icon is here in preview now, permanently displayed. We don't need to hover anymore. And that's going to be the same with other similar applications as well. So what exactly can you do with it? Why is it useful at all? Well, I've got a file open on the left. It's a standard text edit file, and on the right in Finder, I'm just going to expand these folders to show you where it's located. And you can see it's here in folder 2. So this file here is the text edit document. And let's close Finder. And let's just assume that we don't know where this file is located. What I can do is I can right click on our proxy icon and it shows me the folder structure and path below. So I know this is in folder 2, and if I click, it opens up folder 2 in Finder and highlights the file for me. Pretty nice. Let's close that again and right click once more, where I can open a folder higher up. And you can see this time it takes me into folder 1, but it also expands folder 2 below that so that I can see the file again. Now, if I right click once more and go to a folder higher up the path here, well, this doesn't break it out for me like it did with the lower level folders. It stops doing that once you get to a certain level, but this is still a nice quick way to get to root folders here on macOS as well. Now, just to the right of the proxy icon, we have the file name sitting in the title bar. And we can do some pretty good stuff with this as well. So over here in Finder, you'll see I've got a smart folder. And currently there's nothing in it, but we're going to change the properties of this text edit file just from the title bar. So how is this smart folder populated? Well, if I click the cog, then select show search criteria, we can see I've set it so that if the file name contains the word demo and it has a tag named SCOM1526, then it's going to be added to this dynamic smart folder. Okay, let's come out. Whoops, need to press return to save this. Then over here to our title bar, where I'll click on this little drop down arrow to the far right. So in here, we can rename it. So this is where I'm going to put the word demo in the title. And then below that, I'm going to give it a tag. And it needs to be SCOM1526. Okay, that's added. And from in here, I can relocate it as well. So let's move it from folder 2 and put it into my 1526 documents instead. The smart folder doesn't care where it is. It's looking on my whole Mac for files that have the correct name and tag. And now you'll see as soon as I close this, our smart folder is updated. And if I come here to my documents folder, I can see that the file has moved to the My 1526 Documents folder. And this is a really easy way to move your files whilst you're working on them. You don't need to save it, then close it, move it, reopen it. You just need to click, come down here, choose a new location, and you can see over on the right it's moved. And it may not seem like much, but I find myself having to relocate files or rename them quite a lot whilst I'm actually in the process of working on them. So being able to do this just from the title bar here is a time saver. It may only be a 5 or 10-second time saver, but that soon adds up. Using the proxy icon brings some pretty nifty drag and drop functionality with it as well. So you don't have to use the drop down by the title bar to move a document. If you've got Finder open somewhere, you can just click. And now you can see, because it's a proxy for the file, it acts just like the file, meaning I can drag it to a new location. And because it's a proxy for the file, you can drag it to the dock as well. So if I want to add this to DevonThink, for example, whilst I'm working on it, just drop it in. I can see it there imported nicely. Of course, this also means that you can drag it to use it as an attachment. So I'll click and drag across into this mail message here. Now this can have a really practical benefit. You'll see here I have a folder created called Backups and Archives. I'm going to just add some text in here. Let's create a quick backup while I'm working on this. So let's imagine now I'm working on this document and I'm about to make a major change. So I could do with creating a backup, but I don't want to go to File, Save As, and create a different version or any of that nonsense that takes time. Now what I can do instead is if I press the Option key, then click to grab the proxy icon. If I move this into my Backups and Archives folder, what it's done now is it's created a copy of the file. I haven't had to save as a different name or anything. Or more importantly, I haven't had to leave this interface at all while I'm working on it. Just a quick option, then drag and drop, and I'm done. We can see the file in here. And if I expand this, we see the source. So both files are here. And now, just to prove this has worked, if I continue working on this document, so these changes aren't reflected in that file I just copied. I'll save that. Let's check I'm correct. I'll go to that backup and press space to quick look. No changes there. Whereas, of course, if I come here and quick look, the changes are there. So a really useful way to create backups whilst you're working. So how do I use this myself? Well, I drag and drop files all the time, to the point where I need to use a shelf utility for that. And there are actually two of these that I use. One is Yoink and one is Drop Zone. Now, we last covered Yoink in show 1125, and I use this for quickly placing files that I'm putting somewhere else. Nothing more, nothing less. It works really simply. I'm going to drag this proxy icon here. My Yoink shelf appears, so I'll drop this in. I'll do the same with numbers here, then here with preview. And note you can also do this with Safari as well. So I'll drag this icon down here. And that puts the URL onto my shelf for use later. Now, all four of those are ready for me to drag elsewhere. So if, for example, I want to add them as attachments to this email, I can drag them all in and they are ready to go. I didn't need to close them and open Finder to do it, then search for them. Just drag them into my shelf using that proxy icon and pop them in. Easy, and I do this multiple times a day. Now, I said that I use Drop Zone as well, and that's sitting up here in the menu bar. So why do I use two apps? Well, if we take the example we had with backing up a file earlier, you can take it to another level here with Drop Zone and make it easier. It has the same functionality as Yoink in that you can drag this up and add it to a shelf ready for taking out later and moving or attaching elsewhere. But what you can also do, if I click here to add another item to this grid here, is I can copy the file somewhere else, just like we did earlier. Or with this one here, this lets me rename it and copy it, which is really nice for version control. So I'll add this one. I need to choose where that destination folder is. So I'll just find that Backups and Archives folder. There it is. I'll click Open, and Drop Zone is set up. So once again, let's say I'm about to make some major changes to this document and I want to take a backup first. I'm going to grab the proxy icon, bring it across to Drop Zone. And this time, I'm just going to come down to the new action that we set up. I need to rename it. So this is version 1. I'll click Rename. And Dropzone wants to tell me that it's renamed it, so I should allow notifications really on this account. And now let me just open up Finder quickly. And I can see here the original file and the backup version 1 is sitting here. So proxy icons and shelf utilities like Yoink and Dropzone work really well together. The ability to use the proxy icons in place of a file means you may want to use them to create quick links in an application like Notes that supports linking to files on macOS. So here in Apple Notes, we can see I've got a note that I'm going to use to demo just dragging some links into. So if I'm working on these 3 files, but I want to reference them in a note directly, I can simply come over to the file, grab the proxy icon and bring it across to the Apple Note where I can drop it in. And now we have a physical link to the file. I'll do the same with the numbers file over here, then with preview. So with all of those files now closed, if I click on one of these links because I want to come back and work on the file, it's there. So it's really useful if, for example, you have a daily note in Apple Notes where you just populate the files that you want to work on today, perhaps. I'll just show you one last example now before we close off. I'm working on this spreadsheet here, and my accountant wants to have a copy of it so that they can start preparing my year end. So this isn't complete at the moment. It's a live document, but as we can see, if I come down to messages here, they've just sent a message saying they would like to have a copy of it now. So I'm sure you've guessed now how I can deal with this quickly. Rather than save it, close it, open up Finder, drag it across into the message, I can simply grab the proxy icon, drop it in, and press return to send it on. And over on the iPhone that sent the message, my accountant can just pick up the file and open it. I didn't need to go into any save dialogues or close anything. Just drag and drop with the proxy icon and get back to editing. So those are proxy icons and what you can do with them, as well as the file name in the title bar as well. So I hope you learned even just one small thing in that short tip. And we're going to be back on Friday with a full video for you. So we'll see you then.